You know what I think would be kind of a funny question, but it's funny because this campaign was called Ape into Arbitrum. We kind of spoke with you guys, but then maybe a little bit too late realized maybe it wasn't the best name. So just curious, like why that was. I think that's like a funny inside tidbit for the audience.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of people in the crypto space kind of associate aping with, degens and, kind of aping into coins and stuff like that. So maybe that's why uh, some team members may have thought that. But yeah, in general, like, we're really optimistic and quite positive about initiatives like this that are similar to like the Arbitrum Odyssey. They get users to experiment, and so yeah, really happy to see that you guys did this.
Yeah, it's been so fun. I have so many questions for you, like, but I think as a community, we've all been super shocked to see how many, or just how robust like the DeFi space is on Arbitrum. So yeah, I think we have a lot of questions. I think we can just get started, by the way. So in case anyone doesn't know, even though we've talked about it so much, um, can you let us know, Peter, a little bit about what Arbitrum is, and even go as far as to let us know like what an L2 is, just in case people don't really know.
Sure. So Arbitrum's an optimistic rollup that's built on top of Ethereum. The main benefit of that is that Arbitrum inherits Ethereum security. So what that means is that Arbitrum is really like an execution layer, and the data is posted back to Ethereum. So let's say if you do a transaction on Across, and like something bad happens to Arbitrum and Arbitrum goes down, you can still replay those transactions back on Ethereum, and that's how you get that Ethereum grade security, as opposed to, if you transact on like a side chain, then you're relying on an external validator set there. So today, Arbitrum's the largest layer two that's on Ethereum to date. You can see this by various metrics. If you look at things like TVL, I think we have somewhere in 3 billion in TVL. Last I checked, we were ranked second in DEX trading volume. We're right behind Ethereum mainnet and ahead of BNB chain. And yeah, just having a ton of great progress on Arbitrum today.
Yeah, how did it feel for the team when the volume flippening happened?
It's pretty insane. I would say that it's really showing that Arbitrum is starting to fulfill Vitalik's roll-up centric roadmap that he put out several years ago. I mean, recently Arbitrum also surpassed Ethereum mainnet in transactions, and it's just showing that this is truly how we can scale Ethereum, and there's still a lot of work to be done, but it's definitely showing early signs of product market fit that we're looking for, and yeah, we're super excited about it.
Yeah, that must have been a massive, massive moment for you guys. And I don't know, like frankly speaking, do you think that this is going to be a trend and maybe it won't just be a one day thing, or are you guys trying to more so not get too excited? Yeah, what's sort of the sentiment at the team?
Well, I think that this is going to continue to be a trend. I mean, I think Ethereum has already won in DeFi. If you look at like the top 10 chain, like yeah, the top 10 chains, they're all like EVM based for DeFi, and then maybe gaming is a little bit left up. We'll see how gaming plays out. But yeah, I think it's just showing the strength of Ethereum, and we'll continue to see more of this with like all the other zk teams that are launching later this year. But yeah, it's just super exciting, and it's enabling all these new use cases that you couldn't do on mainnet Ethereum because the gas fees are just too high.
Yeah, okay, that's good to hear that this is going to be a big trend. You guys just seem to be like really excited for the future. I guess we always hear about scalability and, L2s are going to bring that about, but I guess it's almost like when a prophecy comes true, you like can't believe it's actually happening. But yeah, I guess we should have all seen this coming. So my next question was more so about, I guess, other than the more obvious or like the talking points that we've already spoken about, like what other reason should people consider when they think about why L2s are important? So I know you mentioned gas fees. That's again obvious, but yeah, what is another reason that is less obvious?
It's a good question. I would say I think about it from a development point of view because what these things are is they're developer platforms at the end of the day. And so I came from Tendermint and Parity. And so Tendermint's the team behind Cosmos and Parity's the team behind Polkadot. And in those environments, you need to build your own blockchain. It's written in Go. You have to use the Cosmos SDK or, use Substrate from Parity. And it takes quite a bit of effort to build your own blockchain and then connect it to all the other chains and make it all work. And I would say that what Arbitrum does that's really awesome is that it's just EVM equivalent right out of the box. So if you're a developer that's already building on Ethereum mainnet, you can easily port your code over. It works with all the existing tooling. It works great in the Ethereum environment. And the time frame to do that is significantly less compared to building your own blockchain. And I think that's what's helping with the adoption of Arbitrum today.
And sort of what is the difference then between, from a developer standpoint, between the different L2s? Like, is there something special that Arbitrum offers developers, maybe in terms of ease of use or ease of deployment? I'm trying to see like sort of what the differentiating factor is.
Sure. So right now there's two types of rollups out there. There's optimistic rollups and zk rollups. So for optimistic rollups, they're typically, it's very easy to be EVM equivalent with those because they typically support Geth out of the box. And they still have low fees. But the one thing that optimistic rollups have is a 7-day period before they have finality because they have fraud proofs, or in Optimism's case, they have fault proofs eventually. And so there's this time period where you still have to wait for the transaction to be finalized. So the way that optimistic rollups get around this is through things like fast bridges, like Across. Just funny that we're on the call for this, or through exchanges. So if you're using like Binance or Huobi or Crypto.com, you can use these exchanges to bridge your funds across to these chains and skip that. Now on the other end, you have zk rollups, and zk rollups promise greater scalability, but the challenge they have is how do you make it EVM equivalent, because you have to do all this fancy moon math. The other challenge they have is the proving cost for a zk rollup is extremely high. And so the user may see super low fees, but to actually do all that math to get the faster finality, it's super expensive. So we believe today that optimistic rollups are the best technology that's out there, but that's not to say that we wouldn't use zk tech in the future. We just think that it's the best choice at the moment.
Well, that is really interesting because I, to be honest, wanted to ask your team, although it might sound sensitive, it seems like it's actually okay for me to ask this, was just how your team feels about when, yeah, these ZK based chains would come out. Like, how do we see the sort of cross chain or L2 chain ecosystem changing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of the ZK teams are going to, try to do a lot of similar things that Arbitrum did, and as far as building out their communities and getting developers to try to deploy. We already have that today, so we already have EVM equivalents. We already have super low fees. We acquired Prismatic Labs, the team behind the Prism client. They're working on things like EIP 4844, the proto-dank sharding work that's going to help to lower the cost for rollups as a whole. So in general, I think Arbitrum's in a great position. And not only that, but we're working on trying to expand to more developers and more use cases. So we announced something earlier called Stylus. And what this does is it's going to allow developers to deploy programs that are written in Rust, as C and C++ to start. And it's going to allow those programs that will be able to interact natively with other EVM programs written on Arbitrum. So, we think that this is going to expand to, more developers, more use cases. You can see Rust is being used in the Solana ecosystem and the Polkadot ecosystem. And we, will be able to support additional programming languages in the future, like Move or Cairo or whatever. So, I think this will also help to separate Arbitrum from some of the other chains out there that are just focused on the EVM at the moment.
Wow. Okay. I think we made a right decision to ape into Arbitrum because that sounds really exciting. That's a really big step, I think.
Thank you.
Actually, yeah, I wanted to mention because you just had stated that you guys are kind of thinking that maybe the ZK chains that come out later on, they might be trying like a similar approach to Arbitrum in terms of launch strategy. So I did want to ask, like, because Arbitrum has seen such a success, and being that, the only optimistic roll up, but yeah, it's obviously tons of attention to your community, to all the projects that are building on Arbitrum or expanding there. So in terms of it being such an engaged, active community, what was the strategy and how did your team achieve success? Like, was there a bit of luck or, yeah, is there a formula to it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there were several things the team did right in the beginning. First, the team had this period where all developers could build, and this solves for dependency. So whether you need a DAI stablecoin, a Chainlink Oracle, Gnosis Safe, whatever. Um, so by the time Arbitrum went live, like we already had support for all these different teams out there, as opposed to some of our or one of our competitors that decided to just focus on Uniswap and synthetics. And the second thing was so I think Arbitrum, it went live in, I believe, August of 2021. I joined in October 2021. So first thing, like I think a month after I joined, I just said like we need to hire for BD. And so we started building out our BD team. I was the second BD hire. We hired Size Chad after, like around the same time as me. So he focuses on NFTs. And then we started hiring a bunch of other folks after that. And I think this has helped us to really expand our ecosystem. We have a lot of smart, like young, competent, folks on our team that are helping to grow out the DeFi ecosystem and our NFT ecosystem with, support for OpenSea on both Arbitrum One and Arbitrum Nova, and then our gaming ecosystem with some of the efforts that David's doing there. And so that's been a big help. And then the other thing is that, right now there is no token and there is no token incentive. So I think it's really created this kind of culture of teams that are mostly focused on building and trying to be collaborative. And we don't have grants or anything like that. That used to be like a question that I got asked all the time by a whole bunch of teams. And yeah, it's just turned into a great culture so far on Arbitrum today. And I think from a DeFi perspective, it's going to be tricky for other teams to fully emulate that, because at the end of the day, from a DeFi perspective, it's really a game based off of liquidity. So whoever has the most liquidity is where people want to go. And I think DeFi definitely has some room for to grow, but like how many additional things in DeFi can you do? So I think that's how we got to where we are today. Definitely wasn't luck. It was just a lot of hard work, a lot of effort to get us where we are, and we want to continue to maintain that lead. Oh, I think I can't hear you at the moment. I think we still can't hear you. Okay, I think you're having connection issues. We'll just wait until you're back. She's back.
Peter, yeah, this is what I'm saying with the Twitter. Just suddenly, these weird things keep happening. But yeah, I'm so sorry about that. I have no idea why the space just suddenly ended. But maybe I'll just add you as a co-host just in case something like this happens again.
Okay, no worries. I totally didn't think it was you.
I was asking, I'm not sure if you heard, asking about, you had mentioned that in your BD team, you have Size Chad working on the NFT part of Arbitrum's ecosystem. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of people in our audience know who Size Chad is, but just wanted to ask you how the NFT space is looking on Arbitrum. We've had a couple join in for this Arbitrum campaign, not as many as I would have liked, but I mean, ETH is still, I guess, king in terms of NFTs, but are we seeing Arbitrum creeping up there and any projects that we should look into in the NFT space?
Yeah, I know Pudgy Penguins did something where they came over a different bridge, but
Yes.
yeah made their way over. So that's definitely something that's happening. I my focus is primarily, I'd say, on DeFi and gaming, but we have got OpenSea support, and we did that, um, over some other teams, and I think that was largely because the organic ecosystem around Treasure, and what's happening there with Small Brains and all the other NFT projects that are getting built from that perspective. So I think there definitely is like an organic NFT ecosystem that's absolutely forming on Arbitrum today, and it'll definitely continue to grow, over time as we get more projects involved.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I know personally, I really like the Lost Donkeys. I thought the game looks super fun. I can't wait to play it. Looks like I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but that was our first, actually, yeah, our first guest of this campaign. It
Oh,
was such a good guest.
oh, that's awesome. I'm not super familiar, but another one I like is the Beacon. If you've seen that.
Yeah, they joined us as well. Yeah, I love the Beacon. Yeah, that is a good one. The donkey one, though, I don't know if you know, this is kind of funny story. That I guess is how many people are, in the Arbitrum ecosystem. It's so massive that the donkey community went and was like petitioning iPhone for their new emoji update to include a donkey, of course. And iPhone had to like ban the word donkey on their forums or something because there was just so many people going in and like kind of spamming their their request system. I don't know really know what it was, but then finally it got released. Just find that so incredible.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that happened.
I think we got to start spamming for a special A that will represent Arbitrum next.
That would be great.
That would be crazy, right? Okay, or I guess it could also represent Across. I just realized that. Okay, we'll spam Across first, guys. Anyways, for question number 4. Yes. Okay. So we've had quite a few. We had about 20 projects join the space. Again, ton of DeFi projects, so much innovation on Arbitrum in that sense. A couple gaming projects and a couple NFT based projects. But anything that we have sort of missed out on, anything that we should be checking out that you would recommend?
Sure. There's one in particular called well, first, before I go into that, I just want to say that you had a lot of great teams on your Galaxy campaign, and like in general, we're big supporters of a lot of them. So, hats off to you guys. I'd say on the DeFi side, there's an interesting one called Perennial, which offers extremely low fees for derivatives trading on Arbitrum. But not only that, it's quite customizable, so you can build other markets. And it comes from a lot of folks that are experienced at like Polychain and Coinbase and several other DeFi projects. And so yeah, I think that's a really promising team. And then another one is Lighter DEX. They launched when we were at ETH Denver. They're an order book based DEX. they're backed by like A16Z and Lightspeed and a few others. And yeah, that's another interesting team in the DeFi space.
Okay, well, be sure to check those out. I haven't heard of those. I guess there is truly so many gems on Arbitrum that it was hard to even select like who to reach out to. And we had kind of towards the end like too many teams, and like this did have to end at some point. So yeah, thanks so much for putting those on our radar though. I can't believe I haven't heard of either of them to be honest. So
Yeah,
I'll really into them.
no problem. Maybe you can have them on round two.
Round two, yes. Um, so I have to tell you, this is kind of something that happened that was pretty funny with the DopeX team. Usually with the protocols, we tend to ask them what their bridging experience is with Across. And yeah, it's been, overwhelmingly positive, of course. But Dopex's team came with a bit of a surprise, just saying that they were kind of only familiar or using, for the most part, the Arbitrum's bridge. So I guess, yeah, they consider it the official bridge of Arbitrum, which makes sense. So I just wanted to ask, as a project or an L2 that has, of course, their own bridge, I just wanted to know like what you guys think the future of cross-chain bridge looks like. Is that something the team is sort of looking into as well?
Yeah, I'm not an engineer by any means, so I'm not going to claim that I know this all perfectly. But I did have a chance to, observe this from the Cosmos ecosystem with IBC and from the Polkadot ecosystem with XCM with regards to interoperability. And so what I think over time what will happen is we'll see more decentralized bridging options that can do more than just like token transfers, but also like remote smart contract calls between chains, which will enable projects to sit on one chain but interact with other chains, and stuff like that. I think is really promising.
Nice. Yeah, I guess it's a big question. We just spoke with the Matcha team before this call, and them being an aggregator of dexes, they were thinking that yeah, this space differ a very oppositely of what you just said about the DeFi space. That we've already seen a ton of innovation already. How much farther can we really go? I think, yeah, the bridging space is still quite young and has a lot of room for growth and maturity. So, yeah, looking forward to the future of that and sort of seeing where Arbitrum's, as the Dopex team member Saitama said, official bridge, how that grows and develops more and more. So the final question, I know we're about to go a little bit over time. I wanted to ask you was for at Across, in case there's members in the team and the audience that aren't really aware, in terms of the bridging space, we have pioneered pretty much at onset of when we launched the thought that capital efficiency is the key to winning the cross-chain bridging race. So I wanted to know, what do you think the key is for L2 dominance?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I don't think there is one key per se. I'd say it's probably a combination of, several things like, great tech, really good BD, marketing, and strategy. So as far as the tech goes, Arbitrum pioneered optimistic rollups with, working fraud proofs, and our team shipped Arbitrum Nova, which is a separate chain that has its own data availability committee, and we partnered with Reddit to scale their community points. And I believe we're going to continue to innovate here. We'll see, things like permissionless validation and decentralized sequencers, and more improvements will definitely come there. I touched base on Stylus earlier. Um, and then I'd say for business development, only because I'm biased because I'm on the partnership team, but I think that this is super critical. The observation I had when I first joined crypto back in 2019 was kind of build it and they will come, and I think that comes from a certain mindset. But in order to really succeed, you really need to have great business development, because a lot of these teams have many different options, especially some of the best teams. And so having a really good BD team means that you can put yourself out there in a position to succeed and get some of the best projects. building in your ecosystem. And then, of course, it sounds straightforward, but from a marketing perspective, we try to be as helpful as we can with teams. So whether we're retweeting their announcements or quote tweeting them, having them on Twitter Spaces or Discord AMAs like this, trying to help them with PR or wherever we can be as helpful as we can. We definitely try to do that, and that's something that I know a lot of teams like. And then strategy I think is also super important. Like the fact that our team had this period where all developers could build in the very beginning, really set the Arbitrum ecosystem up for success. And I think we have a lot of great leadership from Harriet and Steven, on our team, and we'll continue to make good decisions going forward.
Yeah, it really does take a village, but I'm also biased, and I think that BD is kind of, in my opinion, the main player. Like when you see these sort of standout success stories, what comes to mind, like Camelot, GMX, Arbitrum, Sushi Swap. Like I think, yeah, of course, the marketing has a bit to do with it, and incredible development, but there's a massive and very passionate and almost like aggressive sounds like a negative term, but aggressive in this is a positive in this sense. And I think that there's a very aggressive and hardworking BD team behind those standout success stories for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think that's pretty much it, other than just getting a sort of overview of what's to come for Arbitrum. I know you guys are doing a lot, but we're all really excited for sort of what's next. So if you can maybe tease a little bit of what you guys are working on, we'd be really excited to hear it.
Sure. I would say that we definitely are, continuing to make improvements to the tech. We for a while, Arbitrum was, or Off-Chain Labs was the only one that ran the validators. We opened that up, to more of a select list of companies like, Google Cloud and P2P Validator and others. And I think we'll continue to open that up and eventually have it become permissionless. There's been a lot of work as far as decentralizing the sequencer goes. We posted an update about this recently on our blog post, and there will be further efforts around that. And then some more exciting things to come. So it's going to be a really exciting year as we continue to scale Ethereum and try to reach mass adoption for all this decentralization and kind of the reason why we're here in the first place, which is to scale Ethereum.
Yeah, and I mean, it's already proven to be successful in that, and can't wait to see Arbitrum grow even more. We've had so much fun using the different protocols on the L2, and I think it's been like such a joy even working with your team. So we really appreciate you guys sort of helping us amplify this campaign, and I think it was a really good idea for a lot of people who have heard, you and myself included, we're on CT, we've heard a lot about different L2 projects, but maybe don't have that much time to look into sort of which deck should I use on this L2 if I'm going to go try it out, or which gaming project is something that is worth my time to maybe try out and play. So campaigns like this, I think, make that process a lot easier. It's do your research, but we're doing it for you, because people are don't have a lot of time these days. So I hope it's been helpful for everyone. Actually, Peter just let it slip, but that's okay. I thought it was really funny that the sort of big announcement is that we wanted to create something special for everyone who's been like supporting the campaign from through the past 4 weeks. And we created our very first Across Galaxy campaign. I think there's quite a few goodies that you guys can pick up. We will be like more formally announcing it within the next, I believe, 30 minutes. So what is that? 7 p.m. EST, 4 p.m. PST. And there's a really special gift that's I'm not sure if I want to say it now, but there's a really special gift if you do a bridge transact or bridge transfer to Arbitrum. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. We've been working on it for a while, and it really ties in with our special 100-day NFT for our 100-day stakers. But that's it. That's our special announcement. I'm really excited for you guys to see all the goodies. And I once again really thank Arbitrum. It's been so much fun. If you guys haven't yet, seriously just ape into Arbitrum. There's so many incredible opportunities. We've looked at only a few. We're going to look at the ones that Peter mentioned as well for round two. But yeah, again, Peter, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And, I really appreciate the campaign that you guys are doing, and we're excited to continue working with you guys going forward.
Yeah, same here, same here. And sorry again about the Twitter space just dying on us there. But
All good.
all right, have a really great day. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining as usual to like make sure you join our Discord if you haven't yet. We're gonna have a game based on this AMA within the next day or two. So yeah, you can win some great prizes in either ACX or magic tokens or a different token that's available from one of the ARB-based Arbitrum native projects. So yeah, check us out there, and yeah, we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.